Welcome everyone to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide right here on the Latiners Network, where we go over all the films, documentaries, shows that got released over the past week, give you a best recommendations or non-recommendations as the case may be, and of course at the end of the show, let you know what's coming out next week, so you too can create your very own watch list. Oh, we're ready to go here as always is our co-host, the Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What it is, what it was, what it shall be.
And reigning champion once again.
That's
Greatness
that moment passed, dude. We
rises.
can't.
No, don't give me this moment.
We
It's
don't dwell
past.
on the past,
Whatever.
with the exception of the shows that came out last
Back
week.
to
So
back. Thank
you
you. I'm
know,
going for the three-peat. I'm
back
just
to
saying.
back. Only in the world of fantasy does Chewie get to talk about those things.
Oh
It is what
yeah.
it is. So now we got NFL's full blown playoffs starting yesterday and all that. So those who are
How about
excited
them
about that,
Dolphins?
how about them Dolphins? Doing what they do as always. So I'm very happy to see that. Uh, that being said, not a big week this week, but still some interesting discussions to be had here. So why don't we get to it there, Chewy? We got. Let's start with, of course. Well, actually, we're not going to start with that one. So we'll start with another one first. We'll start with a couple of films that came out
Okay.
before we get to that. And the first one, there's one that we didn't mention last week. I didn't even know I got a screener of it, and on Monday I watched it. And I didn't really. I didn't know it was coming out this past weekend. I'm like, all right, well, I'll give it a shot. Whatever. And that's Role Play. It's on Amazon Prime. It's
Oh yes, that's
starring
right. I forgot about that one.
Kaylee. Is it Kaylee Cuckoo? I don't know what her name is.
Coco, Cuckoo,
Whatever.
Coco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Big Bang Theory girl. So I know her as, and David Olewoyo. I can't pronounce his name. Oyelowo. If I'm saying it right. Of course, we saw him in what Bass Reeves on
That's
AMC.
correct. Title
Yeah. So
character.
this film here is kind of a action comedy where they're both married, have a couple of kids, and to kind of spice things up, they decide to do a little role play, and but unbeknownst to him, the wife Kelly Cuckoo is actually an assassin. And throughout this role playing process, he discovers who she is, and of course, all hell breaks loose. Kind of like little Mr. and Mrs. Smith, kind of, which is another thing coming out pretty soon, if not memory
Hmm.
serves. But this one here, it was billed as an action comedy, but I lacked the comedy, so
That's what,
that
that's
was
what I was gonna say.
the little problem, and it lacked the action, which is the other
Yeah.
bit of the problem. This is kind of a dud. It's the total dud. That for a premise like this, you can have a lot of fun with that. Him discovering what's going on back and forth, and it just, man, they sucked the life out of this film. It really, it's dull. There's no reason to be this dull, and I'm not a big fan of hers. I mean, I never have been. I don't get it, but fine. He's great, right? But man, they were just wasted. They were just totally wasted. This is a complete dud on Amazon. That's obviously why you didn't, mention it to begin with. But that one just did not work
For
at
good
all.
reason.
Yeah, this is such a avoid this at all costs. This was
Past.
really a second rate film, a third rate film at best, and all that. So, not
That's
exactly.
how I feel about our next topic.
Fair enough. We'll definitely get to that, and let's just get to that one because we'll continue with the films. Another one was Lift on Netflix. Of course, another Carrie Hart film has been kind of in the news lately because the whole Cat Williams thing and all that podcast. So yeah, here we go, right? What great timing.
Oh, that's right.
Great timing here. So yeah, this was again billed as an action comedy, kind of a heist film, which you and I both
Mm-hmm.
fans of heist films, and
Have a good eyes.
yeah, Kevin Hart's the leader of his group, his gang, whatever, and they are recruited by Interpol,
Mm-hmm.
to help assist on a potential terrorist situation, and they have to be on board a plane, and once midair steal about 500 million of gold, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm. Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, more or less. Chu, you kind of hit it on the head there earlier, so I'll let you go first on this one.
Disappointing. I didn't finish it. I couldn't finish it. Because I was so disappointed. It's got A+ cast, man. I
Yeah,
mean, across the
we
board.
got Tokyo from Money Heist.
Yeah,
Speaking
yeah.
of
So
heists,
get the money high. You
yeah,
have Fisk,
yeah.
a la
Oh, that's right.
Daredevil
Yeah,
fame.
yeah. Vincent
Yeah.
D'Onofrio and
I mean, we
Kevin
had
Hart.
the other guy who was in Clash of Titans and Terminator. I mean, I can't remember his name, but
Oh,
he's been in so many movies.
Sam Worthington.
Yes, yeah, I'm with
He's the
him.
other
Yeah,
guy. Yeah,
yes, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So and you and the lady from Loki, can't remember Renslayer. Um, so it was just too much cast, too much talent, and just not a good movie. It was just you know, meh is being generous. I was just utterly bored.
Yeah, it's not
And
good.
about an hour, I mean, I think 30 minutes, 35 minutes in, I was like, I'm out. Take it off my list. Done.
Yeah, it's not. I finished it because my wife and stepdaughter watching. They actually kind of enjoyed it, but again, I said it once. My wife likes anything, so not everything, but for the most part, she'll watch it. Yeah, it's dud, man. The high, it got especially at the end. I actually finished watching. It got really over the top towards the end, and it wasn't funny, right? What do you talk about
Mm-mm.
comedies, right? This is gotta be
No, I
funny, right?
wanted funny. If it's gonna be
Yeah,
no, I was gonna say Chris Rock. Sorry, Kevin Hart. Where's the comedy?
yeah.
You know what it is. You know what it is. It was missing the Rock, dude. That's
I
what
clearly
it's
missing the Rock.
missing.
It's missing a lot of things, dude. The Rock was the least of the problem. Not having the Rock was the least of the problems. Yeah, it was just. Excuse me. Yeah, it was just it's just dud. It's one of
Yeah.
the Netflix 30% crap. Right, as part of the group. This is what this is.
As far as I'm
Yeah, it's
concerned,
not
yeah.
worth your time. Not worth anyone's time. It's really bad. And then again, when I said it last week, I'm like, this comedies, they're more missed than hit in Netflix as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
The action stuff, true action stuff, and usually does a little bit better. It's kind of
Yeah.
in the wheelhouse more so than this. This
But
is
if it's not funny, I mean, it's not going to work.
yeah.
It's
If
just
it's
not.
not funny, then make at least the heist more interesting. It's not. It's just whatever. It's a
Yeah.
generic, very
Yeah.
stylized, over stylized, of course, very slick. Doesn't hit the market. It's a total dud on that one for sure. Let's
Hmm.
go to the shows now. So the two films that got released this week, and the first one, go to Apple. I like excited with Apple. We have good shows. We got one called Criminal Record, dropping two
Hmm.
episodes. British show from I think it is a British show.
Correct. Yes, it is.
Right here we have a couple of detectives kind of drawn in together. One, a young one who happens to stumble upon potentially a case that was solved and the guy's in jail, whatever the case is, and it could open that up to maybe him not actually being innocent. So she
Hmm.
sees the other detective who handled that particular case, and she's bitten off more than she can chew. And now you can tell this. I'm only two episodes, so but you can tell there's something bigger behind it involving the older detective and the corruption and
Hmm.
whatever. Who knows, right? That's
Yeah.
basically so. It's a basic kind of criminal crime procedural kind of thing. Um, Listen, I expect a lot from Apple, so I have high standards. I don't think this lived up to it. I didn't. I still kind of enjoyed it for the most part, but it doesn't bring nothing new to the table. It's still well made, still well produced. I'm interested, but I can't really say. I'm not gonna give it a ring endorsement. I'm not saying that this is one you have to put on your list. If you like the kind of thing, give it a shot. But not disappointed. It's just not. I'm not excited about it, Chewy.
No, this is probably akin to some of the typical British crime series that we see, police procedural series, which have a fair amount.
That's
I mean,
tons of them.
there's a long
Yeah.
list, a long history, and most of them are about the same. I mean, as far as same as quality and enjoyment, right? They don't tend to make bad crime procedurals, right? They'll change
Mm-hmm.
characters, change settings, time frames, and most of them are fairly enjoyable. I've enjoyed some of them over the years. So this is probably right in the middle of the pack, right there. Like I'm enjoying it, I like it. I like the lead detective. Obviously, if you recognize me, he was one of the versions of Doctor Who or current iteration of Doctor Who, which I know is a big fan base for that. He was also there was a show on Amazon that he was a criminal. It was like a time sliding one where he could reset the go back, die, and go back and redo the whole timeline that he was in. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh,
It
I
came
can't think of
out
it. Yeah.
I know it was really good on Amazon. We talked about it because it was like one of these surprise where did this come from type deal. Wasn't heavily advertised, but I recognize him from that show. He's really good there. So I'm enjoying it. But no, it's not nothing new as far as from the
Yeah.
crime procedural
Exactly. I mean, like I said,
genre.
yeah, I'm gonna keep watching. Like I said, Apple Plus. Like I said, I just expect more. It's a victim expectation. This is a show would have been just fine on Netflix,
No,
right?
well, Annapolis has had a fair
No, not
these where
yet.
we
Of course.
expect more, but they get
Yeah.
them, they put them on there.
Hmm.
They're trying to expand the library. Not everything can be
Of course.
foundation.
Of
Not
course.
everything can be Ted Lasso. Okay, we understand. Okay, you got to fill in some other things in there, but it's not bad as
No, no, it's,
compared
it's,
to
it's
some
not
of the
bad. It's
other
just
ones
yeah.
that we saw. I think some other previous ones we like. No, this is not good.
Yeah.
This is actually not bad shows. It's worth watching.
Yeah, yeah. If you like if this is a genre like police procedurals, yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
But just again, don't not to really get excited. It's a good filler at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But I'll keep watching for sure. Maybe it ends
yeah.
up getting a lot better if it does. Fine, we'll let you guys know. This next one, oh my God, here we go. So Echo, Disney Plus Marvel series
Uh-oh.
dropping its
Here we
first five
go.
episodes. Well, I am
Here we go.
dropping a nurse planning later on today, maybe tomorrow. And both, me and a co-host Eric, we're on the same page, and we'll give a nice in-depth review as to why we really feel the way we feel. This show's crap. It's not good. Huge. I'm not saying it's a huge disappointment because I didn't expect much. If you're familiar with this, people we saw Hawkeye. We got that one character Echo. She's a Native American. Having one leg. She's one of the
Yeah,
underling.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
she's
she
one of
lost
the
her leg. Yeah.
underlings of Kingpin, of course, and all that. And this one kind of picks off where that left off in terms of her story. Her going back home and trying to take over Kingpin's operation, believing he was dead and he's not. And here comes and all that yada yada yada. Yeah, I don't spend too much time, but this is not a good show. It's terribly written. It's like 8 shows in one, and does none of them good. It's almost ridiculous. That fight scene people keep talking about Daredevil, and I will say this: the Devil does
Oh, in the
show up.
first episode.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it looks nice and looks like it's world camera shot, well shot in terms of the cinematography of that. But and I told Eric, I literally paused it at times because I kept noticing it. Like it was like wrestling, where it's fake. I get it, right? And wrestling tries to make it, but sometimes they whiff and the guy still goes back, and like we tends to get hit. I expect that in wrestling. I really do. I don't expect that in my TV shows because there were scenes, and I would pause. There was swing, and it was so blatantly out. There was feet in between body parts in the fist, total whiff, and then again, person will go back and like he got hurt. It's really bad. It's embarrassing. And we talked about the action. We talked when it was a brother son about some of the action and stuff like that. It was so noticeable, particularly with Daredevil. I was like, I can't. I went back to I paused it. Like, oh my god, he took one time. I think she's walking towards him. He swings his baton. It missed completely. Wish it's not even debatable. And a second later, she just like that after she walks by. It's really bad. It's embarrassing. It's really bad. And that was one of the better parts of the show. And I'll leave it at that. Um, like I said, we go more in depth in Nurse Spain. But Chewy, your thoughts on this?
Uh, well, I'm not the Marvel hater you become for some reason. Just kidding.
More
Um,
hater, more
yeah.
realist.
So,
I'm your honesty
uh,
broker. That's just how I roll. I call it what I see it.
I guess so.
I'm not
So,
influenced.
yeah. So, I mean, it was okay. I mean, so I wish I wanted to see more of first episode than what I got. But I mean, but at least it was a cohesive story relative to her, right? Because all that scene was I guess not filler. What's the word I'm trying to call it? Setup, because it was
Yeah.
all in the past. This is all that wasn't contemporary events. This is all what we saw from the Hawkeye show, a little bit of the Daredevil, not there, yeah, from the Daredevil show, and whatnot. Kind of bringing those pieces together, but it wasn't where she was currently because obviously we saw her at the end of Hawkeye
Mm.
on that show where she had shot Fisk, right? Assumed he killed or he was mortally wounded him. Um, and,
Yeah,
and
which
so,
which it's hard because it's hard to kill someone at point blank range and shoot in the eye. So that's really, man.
well, technically, I guess to
You
the
know,
side of the eye because he
apparently,
still had his eye,
only in
technically.
Marvel does that happen. But whatever, fair enough. We let that slide because we knew Kingpin was going to be in it. So, but
Well, yeah,
that's
we knew he wasn't
so.
technically
But
right.
the idea of it is pretty bad. I
Exactly.
mean, it was point
Yeah.
blank, and yeah, I mean,
Um,
whatever.
so she still missed.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, she didn't finish the job. How about that? She got double tap. Got double tap.
that would
But
true.
but no, but I still found it interesting, right? With her story and the characters and going over Chuck Dot Nation and stuff. And so from that perspective, I still enjoyed it. Um, and because obviously this is filling into the They Were Born Again series, which obviously we know that's been retooled and redone, and obviously now just got word that now they're bringing back some of the legacy characters, Foggy and the Karen characters. Now looks like they're coming back now, so that's good to hear because they shouldn't have been dropped off to begin with. It's a continuity of the original Marvel Netflix series. So like I said, I mean, and so I enjoyed it. Was it great? No, but it was compact. It was about her. It wasn't trying to save the world, right? Wasn't tied to any of the other Marvel movies. And so it doesn't have to be, right? We can get a story that's by itself, kind of like Loki, right? I
Sure.
mean, it was a two
Well,
season, right? I think yes and no. I mean, obviously there was bigger implications with Loki,
Right, right.
but technically it was still about him, right, and his development or his finale, I guess you would say. And so I enjoyed like what I see better from the fight scene. Like I said, but I didn't notice those. I didn't pause it and look at the things. So as I was watching it, I'm thinking the first episode that from a visual perspective, it was a hell of a lot better than anything I got from Brother Son. It just was. It was just sharp and different because I know what they did Brother Son. And with them, you could see every miss, without even pausing it. And I not to pause it, I could see that it was, and like I said, I was comparing it to Warrior because Warrior, the choreography there and the action. I mean, it's these guys actually doing the
Yeah,
fight, and
yeah. Well,
it's not
even
stunt
like
people.
if you go back to the original Daredevil series, those are so well done.
Oh man, that was. I mean,
Right,
that was at that time that was the benchmark, right? And
right,
it's
right.
probably still up there. I mean, you can
No,
put
it's
Daredevil
great,
fighting.
of course. Yeah,
The obviously couple of the most famous scenes was the hallway one shot,
right.
right? I mean, and where he's like literally getting tired and doing it. So it's not like we know it's not meant to be look fake. It's like when you're fighting, you get tired, right? It's you're a
Right.
boxer, you need a breather.
No, no, yeah, yeah, it's what, and so I mean, I'm
Yeah.
comparing it to that, and it's such a huge because this one, if this is the lead-in or whatever, the appetizer to the Daredevil show,
Well, I mean, I don't know
that
if
does
it's an appetite.
concern me,
Remember,
right?
this was kind of an afterthought because they retooled this. They needed to get this out for whatever reason. They
Yeah,
needed to
they
just
chopped
like
it down. You can tell there's more
yeah,
story there. It's
yes, they were because five
yeah,
episodes was way too
yeah,
short for
and yeah,
what they
and
did,
like 30
and
some minutes a pop. It's not a lot, not a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
for
The first episode was the
yeah,
longest, but that was mostly
yeah,
flashback,
right,
and so the rest was like 30, 35 minutes. Well, let's say 30 minutes because everything else was just the credits and stuff.
exactly. So
Um,
yeah,
So unfortunate, but based on what they gave us, it was still either they salvaged it or they did something to make it more palatable. And even if you look at the scores, I mean they're in the 70s, I believe. I know it was getting dogged beforehand, but I think that's a lot of trolls out there just
yeah.
dogging it
A
because it comes
lot of
out from
it.
Marvel. So
The reviews on you see online, they only do the first three episodes. They don't review the whole show. Um, so because the last couple episodes, the fourth one was the best episode I thought. The fifth one was horrific. It was terrible the way it ended. It was for so many reasons, which like I said, I don't have the time or the strength. But I'll say this because what I always say, right, I always talk about liking your character, right, the main character, someone to root for, and if she's just not likable, they introduce her as someone who's trying to take over Fisk's, world or whatever,
I,
his
well,
organization, right? It's not like if someone say, "Oh yeah, go be another bad guy." Who cares, right? It's like,
I don't think she
okay,
was trying to be a bad guy. She's
well,
obviously
so no, she's trying to
this is
take it. She
this is
was trying to
a
take over.
very
She
conflicted
wanted to be.
character because
She wanted to be
well,
Queenpin. That was that.
well, yeah,
And
well, I
I'm
mean,
saying she
when she
wanted to
was
go.
with her
She got all.
father,
That, but
yes, but then
that's
she
her son.
left,
Right, but that
right?
was her
And then
son. Right, but the goal was to disrupt it so she can take over. Now that they're weaker. That was the goal, right? The whole train sequence was because of that. Um, it's hard
yeah,
to
to a certain extent, but
right,
what
but
she
it's hard to
committed to
root
that
for her,
is unfair.
right? Because of that, it's like what are we doing here? Okay, she's a bad guy being chased by bad guys. Why should we care, right? And let's be honest, that's what it is, right? So it doesn't work. If you
But she wasn't a fist bad guy because obviously she was conflicted because this is all comes from because her dad was well he killed her dad. Well,
right,
yeah,
she
she
might be
did.
uncomfortable
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it, but that was still her goal.
And but obviously she still had connections to family and
Did she?
people back in yeah to a certain extent
Did
yeah.
she?
Yeah, she
Um,
did, man. That's why she didn't want to talk to him because that would bring out I won't say the humanity, but the inner
right,
conflicts
that's
of
fair.
what she wanted to do. Because I mean, if you're fine, if you're comfortable doing what you're doing, you don't care about what anyone else thinks or says. You do it
Well,
anyway.
she did
And
it
she
for the
didn't want to see it because she
she
didn't
did
want
it
to
for
be
the
confronted.
for the first two
Yeah.
episodes. She didn't care. She didn't, and the fish she did, and that's fine. But you got to build up to that, and that's how you
Well,
should have
I mean,
started.
this is
That's how
this
you
is where
should have
they
right.
cut the show too short because of that development was
That's
was
what I'm saying.
and
I mean,
it might have been there. We don't know. We
it
don't know
might
what
have
they
been there.
did.
I could
But
only,
this was
yeah,
not. This was never. I don't think, from what I said, this was never meant to be a 5 episode
no,
show. I think we had heard that this was going to be longer, and then we thought it was going to be they could drop 6 episodes, and then all of a sudden now it's 5. and so there was always a fair amount of cutting that happened
Well,
for whatever
30
reason.
minutes extra wouldn't save the show.
Well, but maybe these more
Right.
space.
I
I don't
mean,
know. These
let's
are
be,
30-minute episodes or
I
not.
get
Yeah.
it, but I can only judge about what they give us. Right? I'm sure there's a better
Yes.
story in there, no doubt. That's great.
Mhm.
Maybe watch that show. I'll change my review. But this is what you present us. What am I going to judge, right? The fact that
Yeah.
you put someone who's not very
But yeah,
likable, right?
4% you know, like I said, it's not. So this is. I think your worst show was probably Sweeping Invasion, if I'm not mistaken, or at least
Probably.
in your mind. Well, I know you didn't like WandaVision, but I think that's there's a fair amount of crowd
One
on both
Division is
sides,
better than this. Because at least I had a better story, right? I had more
except
of a
for the first
story
two
there,
episodes.
right? For episodes, but at least for nothing else, right? You knew what
Yeah.
was going on here. They could have really taken off Whisk and Fist of this whole show. Probably would have been a better show because you could have focused on her and her family, her coming back home to reconnect with her family. That's what gets you connected to her, right? She didn't go back home to reconnect with the family. She just went back
No,
home to
because that's
hide.
what. Well, there was connections there with apparently who were
Well,
involved with
with
Fisk,
one guy,
right? The
but
cousin.
again, he was
Yeah.
involved in a criminal organization that Fisk has. So of course, Fisk,
Yes.
who wants to remain, and we've laughed about this, he wants to be, you know, under the radar. Fisk does, right? We know him from the Daredevil series, right? He hides in plain sight,
Well, I mean,
right?
legit. Yes, yes, yeah. He's not hiding. I mean, he's hiding his credible because he's
right
still
in plain sight, no one knows
he's still viewed as a legitimate,
right businessman,
successful businessman, right? Because he
right?
had the
And they always
yeah.
mention, they don't want to even mention his name. It's just someone out there, right? And the Daredevil show made a point of doing that, right? Now he's got trucks with his name on it. It's just okay. He's really advertising Fisk on trucks, delivery trucks, which anything happens, it gets busted and his train cargo things. Who does this belong to? I don't know. It says Whisk on the side, Fisk on the side of it.
This is
Doesn't take a
this.
great detective to figure that out. It's just weird. It just contradicts what we know of Kingpin, right? And stuff like that. The details that just it's very annoying. But yeah, overall, hugely disappointed. I mean, you're a Marvel fan, you're gonna watch it, whatever. I get it. It is what it is. But if you're on the fence or one of those that kind of gone, disenchanted with the franchise, because you got great shows like Hawkeye and She-Hulk, then yeah, if you don't like those, I don't like this. I tell you right now. As much as I hated both their shows, they're probably better than this, and that's not a good thing. Next one up, let's get into Netflix. We got one IP, established IP, I guess, based on a book, and that's Boy Swallows Universe. Limited series. This one here is about a young boy who's broken family in Australia. His mom's a former addict. Stepfather's selling drugs. I don't know how that works. Brother who's like 16 or whatever hasn't spoken since he was 8. Original father ran out on them. Whatever the case is, and things happen. I won't spoil it. Events happen that cause his family to break even further, and he's kind of said there kind of a coming of age story of him trying to kind of put the pieces back and trying to
Mhm.
find the ways back to his family and get them all together and figure out what's happening, etc., etc. Taking place over several years because by the end of the show he's already like 18, 19, whatever the case is. He
Okay.
starts off and he's like 12, 13 maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
So it spans obviously his young life. Interesting, different kind of show. Chewy, your thoughts on this one?
I've seen 2 or 3 episodes, I believe, if I'm mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 4. So he's still in the 12 year, but I haven't seen that
Yeah, I think by the time we get
because
to
I
yeah,
didn't
I think the
yeah
last
I
two
didn't realize
episodes it's like a time jump forward.
I didn't realize yeah I didn't realize there was time dubs coming, so that's interesting. So yeah, I mean it's a different coming of age story to say the least.
Right.
Not so much because it's Australian, but it's because there's subject matter. I mean that's this is a pretty broken home. I mean like damn. I mean that's got as bad as it can get for this kid, but in spite of that, he is still very savvy. He's a very intelligent, very observant individual. But he's still a kid, so he gets bullied fairly easily.
Yeah.
But still, it doesn't impact his outlook, and he's still trying to. He has a goal, right? He has a goal in mind. But coming from a 12-year-old, there's only so much you can do, right, without outside help. But like I said, that's the interesting part about this, and that's what kind of it's making me. Oh, I want to keep watching, see what happens, and see where does this end up. And there's some of the imagery, because obviously this is based on a novel, right? And so it's pulling some of those imagery,
Right.
from the books and like the kid in the car going through the universe and stuff. And so it's kind of not that it's fantasy driven, but obviously, when it comes from a kid's mind, there's always a certain level of you have to have certain fantasy when you look at the world and the outlook, and to help you cope with what's going on. And there's a lot for him to cope with overall.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm enjoying it. I mean, really, I'm really enjoying it. I think it's very interesting. I think it's well acted. Especially the kid is really he's
Mhm.
really relatable. He's very he's you want to pull for him, right? You want to see what is going to happen and that things turn around for him at some point.
Yeah, and this is I say I didn't know what to expect on the show, and I enjoyed it. Right, it's a different kind of show, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of it, the show involves a lot of criminal activity and drug use and stuff like that, and it also surrounds that aspect of it.
Yeah, and
And
him having the pen pal from one guy in jail,
yeah, it was in jail.
right?
Yeah,
Where they
yeah,
where they right where that's where he gets a lot of his philosophy and stuff,
yeah.
which
And
is
actually,
funny.
they do a circle back on that later towards the end of the show,
Okay,
which is
okay,
cool.
good,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
okay,
despite even with the time jump and all that.
yeah,
Yeah, and this is what a show does, right? I'm not saying the show's great, but it's very interesting. It's a good watch. But what makes it more like if we get invested in it, it's because of the main character, right? Which is something we talk about Echo. Like you don't really connect or care what she's doing with the kid. You feel bad for the kid, and despite all this stuff, he's determined. He's pushing forward, right? Still tries to remain as positive as he can. He gets into some stuff, but he's 13 years old. That's what we do at that age. But yeah, you can relate to the kid and relate to what's going on, and you feel for him, and you
mm.
root for him, and that's the point, right?
He
Without
feels
that,
bad for
yeah,
when he gets bullied. I mean,
oh
gee,
my
that's
God, yeah, man. Everything can go wrong with this kid and his family, but he's still there pushing through despite what
yeah,
anybody says and what
mm,
anybody's telling him to do and going against everyone's wishes in terms of the circumstances that surrounded the big part, which again I won't mention. They tease at the beginning of the first episode and they kind of end off on that in the second episode. But yeah, you relate to it. It's good and it's solid, man. I enjoyed it. I guess I'm never not familiar with the book at all. I can't compare it to anything, so whatever. But I read reviews and saying it's pretty you know, faithful to the adaptation of the book. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's an interesting watch. I'm not sure if it's for everybody, to be honest with you. I don't know, but looking for something different on TV, I think this is it. To be honest with you.
mm, yeah,
Last one. This one here, interesting. Ted, Peacock, of course. Ted, based off we got the two films. Seth MacFarlane, of course, from Family Guy and others. This is a prequel to the films, where it's focusing on Ted and I forgot the boy's name, but Mark Wahlberg's character as
mm,
a teenager, 16 years old, if I'm not mistaken, in high school, and it's about 8 episodes, and it's just Ted and the kid doing what Ted and the kid does, right? Talk a lot of shit, smoke weed, tons of sexual jokes, inappropriate comments, and that's we've seen Ted you know exactly what to expect, and this is what this show delivers in terms of the expectations. Right, they didn't try to break the mold, do anything different with the show and all
mm,
with what you've seen from the films. Um, it's a comedy, and at the end of the day, as silly as the whole premise of the living, teddy bear or whatever the case is, which everyone accepts because they set up the fact that he was famous when he came to life and he was a big deal. Now he's just another person, right? His 50 minutes of
yeah,
fame came and went, so no one's surprised or shocked to see a talking teddy bear. It's just normal now. But it's a ridiculous premise, right? And it has kind of kind of like a sitcom kind of feel to it at times.
mm,
And listen, though they say a comedy just has to be funny, I laughed. I was laughing, not great, but I was laughing throughout. I think I've seen like 4 episodes. And actually made a mistake and started watching the seventh one first, not knowing this is the seventh
oops,
episode. I wanted to see the next one at eight. And like eight. Oh, well, whatever. Yeah, so I went back, but whatever. I laughed. I like the character of Ted. If you know exactly what kind of humor is coming. If you're familiar with Family Guy and that's your jam, I think you probably like this. I like the Ted films, but there are some very funny moments. Some okay, but a lot of uncomfortable humor. So which is I like. Um, I just wish that it was about 30 minutes long because the episodes do run a little bit long. I think it was 35 minutes. It would have suited better. Things seem to just drag on. It's not like intricate storytelling here, right? It's kids in high school and okay, get into hijinks and sexual once they get laid at the end of the day and whatever, or watch porno, rent a porno video. You don't need 45 minutes, 50 minutes to tell that story, right? 30 minutes would do just fine, and so they kind of get long. Like okay, loses a lot of momentum, but overall it's funny, and that's all it needs to be. So I recommend it if you're a fan of this kind of material, fan of McFarlane, Family Guy, and of course Ted. Chewy.
no, I agree. I mean, it has yeah. Some episodes are a tad long, so
Yeah,
they should have been considered 30 minutes and leave it at that.
yeah, yeah.
But it has its funny moments. I mean, I'm watching with my son. We're both laughing. Even the porno episode, like, oh,
I mean,
jeez.
like I said, there's some really funny moments here. Like Yeah, they work. It's not all, not everything hits, not everything hits, but a lot of it's like, oh, that's funny, and you laugh, and that's what it has to do,
Yeah,
right? Like I said,
yeah.
it just has to be funny. I mean,
But yeah, so if you've seen the original movie or movies and you enjoy it, I mean, so we get a lot of callbacks to that because obviously we
mm,
see the obsession with weed. We see
yeah.
the dawn of the with the Flash Gordon
Oh, Flash Gordon, that's right.
in the
Yeah,
Western
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
So, but it is funny. I mean, obviously some of the acting is over the top
yeah.
and ridiculous. I mean, the dad character, which we
That's kind of
uh,
ridiculous.
I mean,
Yeah,
yes. I mean, probably overly so. I
yeah,
mean, obviously, I seen him. He was in Band of Brothers, right? So I know who the actor is, but
yeah,
how he's portraying the dad is just maybe a little bit maybe overdone,
yeah.
or
And
maybe
even the mom
maybe,
too.
I know it's on
Yeah,
purpose, but I mean, tone it down just a tad and
yeah.
just give us that subtle
Her
humor.
and the mom, like opposite ends of the spectrum. They're both a little bit over
Yes,
exaggerated. They're kind of like they're
yes,
playing cartoon characters, with whatever. It's just fine.
yes,
Like, listen,
yes.
as long as it's funny, I don't care, right? For the most part,
No, no,
right?
no. It's
We know
funny.
this is not going to
It's so
be
funny,
an Emmy-winning show, and that's totally okay, right? And,
and they're fine with
yeah,
that.
that changing the
I
world
mean,
here.
and so I mean, it's funny because my son says that every time he hears TED Talk, all he hears is Peter Griffin.
Oh yeah, yeah. My wife said the same thing. She's not big into. She's not really seen the movies, I don't think. But she's like, and I told her, she's like, who's the voice? And I told her Seth MacFarlane. He's like, oh, the guy with the
Yeah.
glasses and all that. She's thinking Seth Rogen.
Oh no, no,
And I'm like, no,
no.
not that guy. He does Family Guy, which she doesn't watch. But she pulled up the pictures and saw a picture of the family. Said, oh wait, is that the big dad here? I was like, that's the guy. It's like, oh,
That's
that's
the
the voice.
guy.
So yeah, right. So like I said, it's a good watch. It's fun. I just wish it was 30 minutes. Cause
I mean, it's surprising. I thought this was going to be hard garbage.
yeah, you're
Hot
right. I thought
garbage.
this was gonna be garbage. I thought I was
Yes.
ready to talk about this show. It was one of the worst
Money
shows.
grab,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
And no, it's
Yeah.
actually pretty funny, man.
Like,
So
and in no world that I think, as much as the expectations I had for Echo, I never thought Echo would be better than this, and it's not. I thought Echo would be better than this. Sorry, and it's not. This is actually a way better show in terms of just pure entertainment, right? And accomplishing what it wants to accomplish. When it makes you laugh, uncomfortable at times, here you go, right? It's on PC. It does take place in the '90s, so a lot of the jokes are appropriate for the time, right? A lot of things they talked
yes,
about, a lot of homosexuality and this and that. So, race, all those issues that really haven't really surfaced as much as they have now. It's all there, right? So some people make you cringe at it. Fair enough, it is what it is, but take it for what it's worth, and keep in mind the time and that I think 93, 94,
I believe so. Yeah,
around there.
in the Boston area.
Around,
Yeah.
yeah, because they talk a lot about the grunge music scene and all that. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, so we were with that. So it is what it is, just a show, and the reason to cancel it and all that stuff. So that's it. So again, I surprised and recommending it at the end of the day. I really am. But yeah, so I love Ted. He's so cute walking around. I don't know. It just makes me laugh every time I see him. It is what it is. So that's all for this week. Let's get into next week real quick before we sign off. We got a couple of shows. Actually, two of them dropping today. The
Hmm.
first one's an AMC Plus. Yes, I think I heard like 10 people get excited. Those who actually own AMC Plus, so good for you guys. But obviously, I'm sure you can watch it AMC. I mean, you can't
Yes,
watch it
it's on
AMC
AMC
right on
tonight.
cable.
Yeah.
That'll drop tonight. I'm sure if it's on the app, you can probably watch it already. That's Monsieur
Monsieur
Spade,
Spade. Hmm.
Clive Owen, who I like. We just finished watching him in At the End of the World, Murder at the End of the World on
Correct.
Hulu. He plays, I guess it's some kind of sequel or something to the Maltese Falcon, a movie that no one's probably watched.
That's an oh, I mean that's a 70s,
I think maybe 60s in the movie. So it's been a
60s.
long
Okay.
time. So whatever, that's kind of odd, but it's actually a time period piece. It reminds me of Perry Mason on HBO on Max.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully
kind
better
of.
than
Yeah,
that, but
I
yeah.
hope it, but it's a time period. He's a detective, and it's another case. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
what I know of the show.
Mhm.
But what else? I like Clive Owen, so let's see how that goes. And then tonight also is True Detective, Night Country, of course,
Yes.
starring Jodie
Back
Foster.
again.
Yeah, very excited about that one. It's got some really good reviews coming out, so I'm looking
I've
forward to
seen
this one.
9 and 10s all over the place for this
Yeah,
show,
yeah,
man.
exactly. I heard it's the best since the first season, which okay,
Hmm.
it's fine. The second season was not good. Third one was better. It was good. So yeah, I'm excited about that one. Drop. I would assume it's only drop one episode, but it's got the marquee Sunday night lineup, right? It's of course.
Yes.
But it's a really good show if you guys are not into it, and it's anthology. So although it's season 4, it's really season 1, right? With its own
Yes.
thing, kind of like
Hmm.
Fargo. On Hulu on the 16th. Speaking of more detective shows, Death and Other Details, kind of a
Murder mystery.
murder mystery esque, Knives Out kind of thing, right? I got the Christie style show, I guess, to some degree.
Hmm.
Comes out on the 16th, and then on the 18th we got Zorro. on Prime. I believe it's
Mhm.
a Spanish show, so Latiners Network will be watching it, of
Well, they're based
course.
on the character Zorro,
Of course,
who's been
yeah.
around for various comics, various TV iterations, even a movie with Antonio Banderas,
Antonio
if I'm not
Banderas, yeah.
mistaken. Which I don't really think I saw. I don't know if it was good or not, but
The first one
I think
was good. It was fun. The second one was
was it?
not good, but
Oh,
oh well.
okay.
Neither here
I
nor
think
there.
that who plays the title character in this one? Is it Fez,
Oh,
or
I'm
am I
not sure. To be honest
confused?
with you, I'm not sure. Yeah, I was.
Confused with someone else?
Yeah, it wasn't
Might be
Marina.
confused. I might be confused with someone else. I thought I saw someone that
Yeah,
was Fez. I haven't seen the trailer, but
I thought this was
whatever.
coming out a little bit later. I knew it was coming out this soon.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I had
this
heard
is,
about it, but yeah. So let me. I'm gonna give a quick check on that one.
yeah. And this is set.
No.
This is also a period. It's not okay. So I'm not confused with another project. But this is also set, I think, in the 1800s, or I know it's not contemporary, so it may
Oh, right.
be,
Zorro should
yeah,
not be a contemporary character,
yeah,
right? Yes,
yeah.
it's a period piece, if you will, if we call it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so let's see. I'll give it a shot. Like I said, Zorro is a well-known character. And
Mm-hmm.
then on the 19th, we got a film, The Kitchen, on
Yeah.
Netflix. This is one. It's hard to describe. I don't know if it's a thriller, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's like an action, true action film, but it takes place in one of the last neighborhoods, rundown neighborhoods in London,
Yes,
and a
right.
young boy and I guess someone he meets trying to escape that area, and they're being chased by the cops or whatever the case is. It was very unclear when I saw parts of the trailer, so I'm not even sure exactly what it is, but whatever. We'll give it a shot. It's Netflix. We're rolling that die, and this and at the end of the day, it has to be better than Lift.
I think it will be. I
Uh,
have a
Yeah,
strong
it looks
suspicion it's going to
interesting.
be
It
better.
looks interesting. It's kind of this futuristic. It's not. I don't think it's in the futuristic. It has a futuristic feel, but I don't think it takes place in the future. I don't think. No.
No. And
Okay.
it's not a sci-fi movie,
Yeah,
so
right. But it
it's
has
not
kind of.
confused
It
with
kind
the
of.
genre.
The
I
imagery
know it
reminded me of Blade
stars
Runner and stuff like that to some degree.
maybe,
To
yeah, as
some
far
degree.
as the grittiness and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I know it stars one of the actors who was on Top Boy, which was a good Netflix British
Yeah.
drug, kind of like the British Wire sort of type of show, which is really good. Actually, I enjoyed it. I had like 5 seasons of that show, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to see what
Yeah,
he does
it was
in
good.
this
So
role.
yeah, I think I get dropping on the 19th, which is Friday. So not a bad weekend. Like I said, I like when these shows get nice and spread out. So we're gonna start today with a couple of them and kind of just ease into the week. Let us finish some shows that are finishing up. I didn't get to finish Monarch yet, so I can't talk about Monarch yet.
Ah, yeah, no, the
Um,
good. And we also For All Mankind. Maybe we can talk about the shows next week
right? Yeah,
that they wrapped up.
that's usually my Sunday fare is usually to catch up on my Friday show. So
Yeah. Monarch
yeah,
and For All Mankind ended their
and Reacher's
fourth and first season runs. Yeah.
and Reacher. Obviously catch up on
Well,
Reacher as
Reacher's
well.
going to end this week, so we have
Oh,
one more
is it
episode
one
of
more week?
Reacher.
Oh,
Yes,
that's sad.
yes.
But there's like three shows right there. Yeah, man, I like Reacher. This is a fun show. It really is. I love the
Hmm.
character of Reacher. For All Mankind is a must watch on Apple Plus, and I'm really enjoying Monarch. Really,
Hmm.
it's really cool and all. I hope it ended well. Did you see it, Julie, or not yet?
Yes, yeah. So I've
Okay,
seen episode everything.
okay,
So yeah, it definitely ended well.
okay.
And obviously I hope there's a season two, but those transition to as far as because obviously there's been seven movies that have happened since before the show, right? So we had Kong, Godzilla versus Kong, right? There's a new one coming out that's Godzilla Times Kong or something
Oh, Exit X or
next
whatever.
year.
Yeah, yeah. This year,
Yes,
actually, this year. Yeah,
yeah. You say X, I say versus whatever.
right.
And there was also Kong, King of Monsters, or where. So all these movies happen post where this season ends up.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess I'm enjoying it. I'm sure it ends well. So yeah, a good show on Apple Plus. Different kind of if you're into the monster stuff, this is the show for you, I guess. But that being said, that's all we have for this week. Of course, we'll return next weekend. Talk about some of these shows that are coming out this week. Of course, hopefully there's some good gems in there. I got very high hopes for True Detective. That's the one I'm really focusing on this week is True Detective. That being said, we appreciate it. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. Let you know we're coming out every Sunday. We got Nurse Splitting dropping a little bit later. And that being said, enjoy your football, enjoy the show. See you guys next week.
Peace.